Hey everybody, Tara Green here, and yeah, I know I'm running a bit late here. The Pisces lunar eclipse happens today. If you're in Pacific Daylight Time, it starts tonight on August the 27th, and it peaks at 9:18 p.m. So the eclipse is going to last about 5.5 hours, so 2.5 hours before then and about an hour after. So I believe that you can look up those eclipse tables. I'm here in Eastern Daylight Time in Toronto. I'm hoping that it'll be clear. It rarely is. And that eclipse then peaks on the 28th at 12:18 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So depending on where you are in the world. Now, here's the astrology. Okay, so you can see it's intense. The red lines are stress lines between the planets. I want to mention that Mars and Pluto are both out of bounds, meaning, you know, the energy that we've been seeing for the last couple of days, of course, with Dolly Parton dying, and then Tim Curry, and then the Japanese artist Kazuma, is all part of this eclipse cycle's energy, right? And then the big horrible avalanche of water from that glacier falling in Nepal is also very, very Pisces, flooding and endings and death. So we are in that eclipse corridor that started August the 12th with the Leo solar eclipse. And traditionally, the prediction about all total solar eclipses is the death of kings and queens, the leaders and people in general, right? Okay, so we're in that. Now, I just realized there are 4 eclipses a year just normally, and their effects are supposed to be felt for 6 months from the 2 eclipses that happen at the beginning of a season and then 2 6 months later. So really all of the time we are under a total or a lunar or a partial or a penumbral lunar eclipse or a total or not total solar eclipse. So basically it's all the time. Okay, now eclipses also come in solar cycles that repeat every 18 plus and 19 years. And I want to mention that the card that represents this eclipse, can you see that? Whoops, I just disappeared too, is the 8 of Cups. Now this is in the Thoth Tarot that I use. Kind of interesting, I keep appearing and disappearing. And in this card it's called Indolence. And it is Saturn in Pisces. So Saturn in Pisces is a restriction. It's blocked emotions. And so in this Pisces eclipse, it is also conjunct to the fixed star Fomalhaut, which is the mouth of the fishes. It is one of the royal, what they call the royal fixed stars. It represents the Archangel Gabriel blowing the trumpet on Judgment Day, which is the archetype of the number 20, a very important one in the tarot. Okay, so Judgment Day. Now, don't get all, Judgment Day, the world is ending. That's not the case. These are symbolic symbols of rebirth and transformation. Okay, so Pisces is the end of the line. We're almost ending a solar and lunar eclipse cycle that started in 2024. There will be one more. There won't be any more Pisces eclipses until 2034, but there will be one more Virgo eclipse on the Virgo-Pisces axis, February 20th, 2027. So here we are here. Now, this is set for Washington, D.C., so you can see there's Gemini rising there. A Pisces lunar eclipse is ruled by Neptune. Traditionally, and Neptune is in Aries up there at 3 degrees. And Pisces is traditionally ruled by Jupiter, traditional story. And it's at 12 degrees of Leo. So you can see the configurations there. The Barbo basket thing is still kind of loosely in effect with Pluto at 3, Neptune at 3, Uranus at 5. They're all very close to each other. The Sun in Virgo and Mercury, which just finished a conjunction, a cazimi with the Sun. So that's still in effect, although it's passing out. So that cazimi was earlier today at 1:04 p.m. Venus over there is in Libra, the sign she rules. Mercury is in its ruling sign, so those ones are very strong. Mars is in detriment in Cancer, opposite Ceres, and then behind my head there's Lilith there sitting on the galactic center at 26-27 of Sagittarius. So there's a lot of tension going on. You can see there's the trines, of course, between Pluto and Aquarius and Uranus. Again, things are very chaotic and very unpredictable. The nodes have just moved into the south node in Leo and the north node in Aquarius, so we're still in the fallback of these eclipses that are still in Virgo and Pisces going on. Now, Chiron is at 0 degrees of Taurus, and it is trining the Sun in Virgo and also sextiling the moon in Pisces. So this is a time of very big healing. Chiron in Taurus represents the earth. Now it is moving out of Taurus back into Aries for a while before it moves back into Taurus to stay for 8 years in 2027. So listen to your body. You know, in a Pisces lunar eclipse, it's the end of oil, addictions, illusions, delusions, false gurus, money laundering, big secrets coming out. Things are going to be revealed. A lunar eclipse, you'll see it's kind of called a blood moon. It isn't a total blood moon, but it'll look reddish. Almost totally obscures the moon, and so the moon represents the unconscious. In the tarot, it's called the dark night of the soul, number 18. And so everything buried deeply in our conscious is going to be coming out. Okay, so that temporary block of the shadow of the earth allows us to connect with that Virgo energy, connect with your gut instinct, stay very practical, very realistic, very grounded. I know it's kind of hard, you know, with the Pisces energy. If you have any planets, degrees, angles at very tight orbs for eclipses, traditionally, I use 1 degree, so 3 degrees Pisces to, I would say, up to 5 degrees Pisces, you are totally impacted. It is exactly on my north node in my 4th house. So depending on where that hits in your personal chart and then the aspects that that makes, you know, of course, it's not just 4 degrees of Pisces, it's also 4 degrees of Gemini, where Uranus is. Geminis are going to have big unexpected topsy-turvy changes of their minds, which is a good thing. It's also 4 degrees of Virgo, where the sun is, and 4 degrees of Sagittarius as well. So again, if you have any planets, angles, nodes, whatever, at those degrees, you're also especially impacted by this eclipse, because not everybody is in the same way. Okay. Now, I did look at the chart of Iran, and Iran does have a planet at 4 degrees, which is going to be impacted. So I have heard a lot of astrologers have some very dire predictions around this one. You have to look back at what happened before. And also, I just want to mention that, you know, Princess Diana died on August the 27th. Just before a lunar eclipse in September of 1997. So that's like 28 years ago, like 1.5 eclipse cycles ago. So again, major figures dying. When Princess Diana died, I think Mother Teresa also died. So that sense of deep mourning for a feminine archetype, especially Princess Diana, kind of like Dolly Parton in a way, although she was an entertainer, deeply felt in the collective unconscious, and that is Pisces. And also the South Node represents the collective unconscious. So again, remember, that is in Virgo. So what we're digesting or not digesting, or pay attention to your gut instincts, you know, accountability, budgets, money. Money might be felt to be kind of tight around this eclipse, although it's, again, not permanent. It's a temporary thing. It's like a little block in the river. And if you saw that really horrifying eclipse of the big flooding, the mudslides in Nepal, there was these huge boulders just being rolled around by the sheer weight of all the water. So you want to think about that Virgo rock as a kind of symbol. These are all archetypal symbols, and I'm sending prayers and blessings for all the Buddhists in Nepal, Tibet. You know, that's what I mainly studied for many, many years. That rock represents a kind of hardening or Saturn-like kind of rigidity that, of course, the water dissolves all hardness, right? So we want to go with the flow. We want to tune into our dreams, especially, you know, traditionally Chiron taught Asclepius, who set up the famous dream healing temples in Greece, working with your dreams, working with plant medicines until you receive the healing dream. And yes, that's a real thing. So, you know, watch what you eat. You are what you eat. Pay attention to what you're harvesting and what you're letting go at this point. Tend your garden, your metaphorical, your spiritual garden. I have a big organic garden in the back. And be gentle with yourself. This is a time of compassion. Things are changing. This window is changing. Again, we have until February 20th, 2027 for the last Virgo eclipse in this cycle at 2 degrees of Virgo. But, you know, it is tense. You know, you can see the tension going on between the planets, right? There, Venus opposite Saturn, difficulty in relationships, difficulty communicating as well, you know, because that Mercury-Sun conjunction, even though it's good, it's past right now. So if you need some help, assistance, and I know you do, with guiding you through the aftermath, the eddies out from this lunar eclipse and your dreams, get in touch with me at tarot.com. I'm going to be doing ceremony, of course, during the eclipse, but get in touch with me if you need my help. Sending you blessings of the day.